welcome back to the What's Not Sports podcast. Now, this is, I guess, the third episode of the inside story that we have done. And I would say it is our first official guest for the 8 and 80 challenge. So I get the pleasure to sit down with um, a very talented man and I guess talk his story um, as he grew up through school and as he played rugby and how important that has been to him. So this man, he's not only just a Canberra, he was named the St. Brendan's College Player of the Year back in his last year of school. He was a 2024 Jersey Flag Cup Player of the Year. He made an incredible debut, well, one of the best debuts I'd say you'd want as a player in Las Vegas in 2025. He went on to play all 26 games this season. He has signed a long-term contract with the Canberra Raiders to the end of 2028. And on top of that, outside of the sport, he is also an auto electrician. So he's got that trade under his belt. And this person is none other than Owen Pattie, one of the Raiders hookers. So I hope you guys really enjoy the first interview of the 8 and 80 challenge and let me know your thoughts. And here's the interview. Right, welcome back to the What's Not Sports podcast. And we are joined today by Owen Pattie for our first guest on the 8 and 80 challenge. How are you, Owen?
Not too bad, thanks, Will. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for coming on. Now, let's start at the beginning. You started playing footy at age 4 up in Monto where you were born, and you started to climb the junior ranks of the Panthers there. Can you tell me how it all was playing footy in a rural community like that and like the challenges that you faced a little bit at a young age?
Yeah, so I started playing football at a pretty young age, and with those all those junior sort of football clubs, it's all community orientated, and it's just a good, I don't know, it's like another sense of family, and yeah, I was just lucky enough to be involved in such a good junior club where my parents were heavily involved also, and they helped out a lot. And I think that was the main reason to where I am today is just great people around me from such a young age.
Yeah, nice. And what was that draw to rugby league out of everything and what really started your love for it?
Uh, I think, at that age, when you're so young, you sort of enjoy whatever you do, whatever your mates are doing. And it was just so that all my mates were involved in rugby league. And, I really to this day, I've never enjoyed any other sport more than rugby league, and that was the case when I was young. All my mates played it, my brother played it, my old man played it, and yeah, I've never had a dull day playing rugby league, except when we got beaten. I was such a sore loser back in the day, so that's probably why I'm so competitive. But yeah, it's pretty much just the enjoyment I've got, and it's never left me really playing rugby league with my mates and building those connections with one another.
Mm. And you just mentioned that you're a real competitive player. Where do you think your competitiveness comes from?
Oh, I think it's just my personality, to be honest. I don't like losing too often, whether that's soccer, volleyball, or badminton. I don't like losing anything too often. So I think that might just carry over to the football field.
Yeah. Um, so later in life, you've started and you attended St. Brendan's College in Yeppoon, which has been almost like a breeding ground for some, well, greats in the game, including Harry Grant and Ben Hunt. Can you tell me what it was like going to that school?
Um, yeah, obviously there's been some names, go through the school and be quite successful, but I boarded there from grade 7 all the way up until I graduated, and it was some of the best times of my life, and some mates that I'll have for a lifetime, and I'll never forget it. And going to school there, I just have the greatest of memories. Going to that school and whenever I'm with mates, and we always look back at the good times we shared in boarding and in school, and I'll definitely wouldn't want to be I wouldn't have wanted to have an education anywhere else.
Yeah, and just on that, how did it help you develop as not just a rugby league player, but as a person?
Yeah, there was some great role models at that school that I really looked up to. Teachers, staff, and then also just volunteers who would help out with footy trainings or sports carnivals that would give up their time to um, help out. And I think just being around those types of people, you were just inspired to just be a good person, and you know whether that was rugby league as well. There'd be a lot of people helping out rugby league wise, and a lot of people there that I really looked up to, and that's probably why it's driven me so far.
Yeah, wow. And just on that, I read an article earlier in the year. It was actually about you, I think when you were a bit younger at school still, and you were asking Harry Grant a lot of questions, and he went on to say that he was asking those types of questions to Cam Smith. Can you tell me about that and how he sees you as an up and coming hooker?
Yeah, Harry would, our pre-season for school footy would pretty much start at the back end of the year, pretty much the exact same as what I do now, and he would come back in the off season and give up his time to come to some of our sessions at school, and he would be there most afternoons, and boys would just come up to him and just would share knowledge and pick his brain about anything. But I think
Mm,
me being young then, I was just interested in, I always probably looked up to Harry coming from that school and
mm,
playing the position that I'm playing now. Um, you'd always just ask questions. I can't exactly remember what I was asking him, but
mm.
um, yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome and such a good person to have as a role model. On your time at St. Brendan's, in your last year, you were named player of the college. How was it being like? How did it feel being recognised like that?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I probably didn't realize it until I got the trophy and I was able to look at the names on there and stuff. And they're all past old boys, of course. And you look
Mm,
at the names on there and they're well established NRL players and ex NRL players now, like Dave Taylor, Ben Hunt, and
mm,
Kurt Mann and whatnot. And it's pretty special for your name to be on such a historic trophy at St Brendan's. And yeah, definitely something I was very grateful for, and not that I think about it too much now, but at the time it was just a real good accolade for the year of football, that we had a pretty successful year that year in grade 12, and it's probably just good to go out and graduate on a high note.
yeah, well, it is something really special. And now at that time, you're an 18-year-old. You just finished school, and now you've moved away to Canberra. How did that all start, and what was the catalyst to go to Canberra?
It was the back end of grade 12. I wasn't too sure what I was going to do. I thought I was gonna hang around in Rockhampton and finish my apprenticeship whilst playing football with the Capras, but I got contacted by Canberra in about term 4 of grade 12 to head down at the end of 2022. So it was
Mm,
yeah, I said yes at the time, and I never looked back really. And the due date came around very quickly to go down there in the pre-season. It was about this time last year, um, the end of October, to move down there and start training
mm.
with the Jersey Flegg side.
And when you moved down to Canberra, did it take you long to find your feet there? It's like coming from such a small town, I guess, up in rural Queensland to move into well, I guess somewhat a big city.
Yeah, it was definitely, it took a lot to get used to. I've only been to Canberra once beforehand. That was when I was about 11 or 12 years old. So to go back and um, you didn't really realize at the time, but this is going to be your home for the next couple of years and hopefully a lot longer. But yeah, I was lucky enough to be in a share house when I first moved down, and we were looked after by a lovely family, and there was 7 us boys in that house at the time, and they're probably my best mates to this day. And every time I see them, we have a good chat, and think back to the times that when we were in the share house. And unfortunately, some of those boys already moved on from Canberra.
Mm.
I'm still very close with them, but a few boys have still remained at the Raiders, and yeah, it was a nice place to sort of find your feet and get the ball rolling.
And so when you moved down, you started playing for the Raiders under 19 side in that SG Ball Cup. Were you playing that with your mates you just mentioned, and how was that playing there?
Yeah, all of us boys that were in the share house, we were sort of in between Jersey Flegg and SG Ball, but I'd say there was about six out of the seven that played SG Ball.
Yeah,
So yeah, we were all going to training together and all playing footy on a weekend together. So it was really convenient, and it was probably just a good
yeah,
way to connect. And
yeah. And was that you just mentioned that was a connection, how you made really good friends and possibly friends for life. That helped a lot. I'm assuming being in somewhere away from family.
yeah, definitely, everyone's feeling the same thing that everyone else is feeling of being away from family. Missing your loved ones, and so it's something that we all share in common, and it's probably what brings us a little bit closer that we're all able to hang out all the time and sort of just look after one another.
Yeah, lovely. And then you went on and you moved up from, well, the under 19 side to the Jersey Flag side. And in 2024, you had a bit of a breakout season in there where you not only claimed the minor premiership, but you were also the Jersey Flag Player of the Year. What was that Jersey Flag season like for you?
Um, yeah, coming off 2023, I played SG ball for half the year, and then obviously moved up into the flag side. And unfortunately, we had some pretty good hookers in Jersey Flag during that time, and I was pretty much 18th man for the best part of the flag season of 24. So 25, I
Mm.
was able to start um, start full time in Jersey Flag, and pretty much just really enjoyed my football playing in that side with the boys that I moved to Canberra with at the back end of 2022, and we were a pretty good side. We went all the way up to the semi-finals, and unfortunately got knocked a game short from the GF. But yeah, it was a very successful season for that team and myself.
Mm.
That's probably where it all kick-started for me, was that Jersey Flag year for sure.
Yeah, and on that you had such a good season, you were such in form. You actually got promoted up to the New South Wales Cup side. How much of a step up was that during, like, you've gone playing probably the first half of the season for Jersey Flag and now you've been bumped up to a higher grade? What was that difference in level and how did that feel?
Yeah, at the back end of that flag season, I debuted in Cup, and I thought it was just going to be for a game or two, but I was lucky enough to stay there for the whole end of the Cup season, which was about, I think, 10 or 8 games, and yeah, it was definitely a big step up. But no, it was only gonna benefit me from playing as many games as in that level as I could, and I'm very grateful that I was able to play as many games in Cup as I did to prepare me for, yeah, what was the year ahead.
Yeah, and on that, like I just mentioned, it was a big step up playing with your own team, but mentally and physically, was that much of a challenge that you had to prepare for from jumping up from going up that next level, say?
Yeah, it definitely was. When you sort of see it when you watch it. Jersey Flegg, you're playing against, they're extremely good players, most of them teenagers. But when you're stepping up to Cup, you're playing, established first graders at
Yeah.
some extent, and players that have played NRL before and got some experience. So it's definitely hard.
Yeah, wow. And then off the back of that season, I guess we come to 2025 pre-season, and you've made that 30-man roster for the Raiders. And then what was it like training, I guess, your first pre-season with that squad of 30? And how did you connect to the older boys and that side, and and what was Ricky like?
Yeah, the boys are really good. Whoever goes up and whether that's part time or full time to that top squad, the boys respect you straight away, and they treat you like you're one of them. And if you're willing to learn, then they're going to have the time for you and the time and place for you, and that's the same as the coaching staff. I found the coaching staff, they've been amazing to me so far, and that's just because I've been invested in what they're trying to teach us, and every single one of them has time for you. So it's been a great time for myself for sure.
And on that, you mentioned that the boys are really good on the coaching staff. Was there anyone in particular like that you made a quick connection to, or someone you started, I guess, seeking advice from and learning from the most?
All of them are pretty good. They're
Mm.
always they'll welcome you with open arms if you got any questions or anything. But probably Jamal. Um, he was really big for me this year. He's experienced and he didn't make it to the NRL until he was a bit older. So he's been through the tough side of rugby league, and he knows what it's like to come through the ranks as a young guy. And I was very grateful Jamal is the bloke that he is, and he's so approachable, and yeah, he's got a lot of time for you. So I'm just very grateful for how Jamal treated me in the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, now, during that preseason, what were your biggest challenges?
Um, it's definitely the hardest training I've ever had to endure. Um, Probably, it's all to make you better though, so that's why you can get through it. But there's a lot of aspects that make it really hard. The conditioning's really hard, the long days are really hard in the hot sun. It might sound rich coming from Canberra, but Canberra can be hot in the
Oh yeah,
summertime.
yeah,
But yeah, there's not a single part of preseason that isn't hard, and that's why you know it sets you up for the season so well as you're prepared for anything that comes around.
Um, and just on that, you mentioned how tough the preseason is, and I guess Canberra has both the conditions of the heat during the summer, which no one really thinks about too much, but then you got the extremity of the coldness during the season. Do you reckon that helps you guys, I guess, be a little bit more tougher?
Oh, maybe. I think, yeah, it could do. I, but you sort of just deal with it. You gotta rock up whether it's raining,
Yeah,
hailing, or shining. So I
yeah,
don't we don't take too much notice of it. But I suppose you definitely could take away that we get a bit of mental toughness out of it. Training in the cold can definitely be tough on the body sometimes, but no, it's not too much of a worry.
yeah. And on now that you finished the preseason and you were on the side for the preseason challenge and you had a really good couple games there and you played against the Panthers and had a real good game, scored 2 tries, and then you went on to debut for your first game in the NRL for round one, which was in Vegas. I must say that's a pretty cool way to say that that was your debut game. Can you tell me what that was like and how much of a special occasion that must have been?
Yeah, 100%. It was yeah, it was a pretty cool period, the back end of preseason last year, and getting told that I was going to debut in Vegas. I wasn't too sure if he was telling the truth or not. I was happy enough just to get a trip over away with the boys because I was only
Mm,
development at the time, so I didn't think anyone was going to go over by the top 30 squad. So I was
mm,
happy just to go to Vegas. Yet to play was a different story.
yeah.
But yeah, it was just yeah, I was just very grateful for the players and the
Mm,
staff getting me to the point where that they believed in my ability to play in that round one side.
yeah, wow. And it was a pretty incredible and special game beating the Warriors over there. Uh, how tough was it, your first game?
Um, yeah, I've never experienced a game like that first game we played. The crowd was insane, and the stadium was even better. Probably just the speed of the game. I've never experienced anything like that. I've definitely come across it this year, um, but just to step up from New South Wales Cup and training to that round one game. The speed and the size of some of those boys was definitely something that yeah, it showed me what I'm in for, and what I've got to be prepared for. So yeah.
Yeah. And it did you find, I guess you're just talking about how much harder it was physically. Did you find it was harder to recover after those games and getting prepped to come back to training the day or the next day or a couple days after? Can you run me through what your recovery was like and how well you could recover?
After Vegas,
Yeah, yeah. And just in general in the NRL game, it was like with the physicality of it all.
yeah, definitely. You know, our staff, they want to look after us as much as possible and get us ready and prepared for our next game. So the beginning of the weeks, it's very low key training, and we're doing a lot of as much recovery as we can, massages, ice baths, sauna, and then training ramps up at the end of the week, getting closer to the game. So
Yeah.
we get looked after really well, and they manage our loads extremely well. And there hasn't been a single week where I've been going into a game underdone or a bit fatigued. They look after us really well, and but there's definitely times if you don't look after your body and it's getting to the end of the week where you got a game on the Saturday and it's already Thursday.
Yeah.
You probably haven't looked after your body um, as good as you should have.
Yeah. And just on that whole training stuff, what is a week of training like for you?
It all depends when our game's scheduled, but normally we have three training days and a captain's run a day before game. So it's it seems pretty full on, but it's pretty relaxed at the start of the week. But as I said, getting into the back end of the week, getting ready to play, our field sessions are short, sharp, and yeah, just what we need to do to get prepared as best as possible.
Yeah. And playing NRL games, especially in Canberra, um, I just want to ask from a player's perspective, what is it like running out onto the field at GIO to the Viking Club?
Yeah, it's definitely something special. And the first time I experienced it, I'll something I'll never forget. But gives you shivers every time, and especially when you've got a packed out crowd like we did in those last two home games, those final games at the end of the year this year. It was you couldn't hear yourself think, and you just look around with the blokes that you shared training with and you shared a preseason with, and yeah, it's just something special that you're all involved in and you all get to experience. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, wow. Uh, do you have a favorite moment or a favorite match this season that you got to play in, or even just a moment within the club that was really special to you?
Oh, there was a lot of games this year where I was so happy that we got the win, and um, that was probably one of them was the Sharks game at the start of the season, and but the main one that sort of sticks out for me would be Papa's 300th game. It was
Yeah,
all about him at the start of the week, and we even harped on about a couple of weeks before that game of how close he is to breaking a milestone in the
yeah,
club, and to be able to turn up on that day for such you know a big person in our club was yeah, definitely something that I'll always forget. I'll always remember. Sorry.
and yeah, just on that game, that was. I know I'm a big Papa fan. It was a really special game, but you even helped in the try. Well, you had a try assist for Big Papa. How special was that in that game?
Um, yeah, I think we're all trying to get Big Papa over the line. I guess he was just there, so I gave him the ball next to the line, and he scores those 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, what a great game. Just on, I guess the players and the team yourself being a bit isolated. I guess in Canberra, you probably don't have as much noise as what some of the Sydney teams does. But does that make your team and the boys a bit more tighter, do you reckon?
Oh yeah, definitely. We we're all about in a 5K radius of one another. We're not like those Sydney teams where you can live 30 minutes to even 45 minutes to an hour away from one another. So when it gets to time off and on the weekends, we're all pretty much together. And playing a game of golf or going for a coffee or a beer, we're all pretty a
Yeah.
tight knit group, and it probably does help. There's not as many distractions as all those other clubs, which is probably a good thing, especially myself being so young. Staying out of trouble is half the half the problem.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so right about I guess if you want to be successful, you got to be on the straight and narrow. On that, you're saying that I guess being young, you can struggle with that if you're somewhere else. Does Ricky keep you in line quite a bit, or
Oh, he doesn't really have to. All the boys pretty much look after one another, and if someone needs to be brought into line, the playing group sort of looks after that. If you're talking to rookie, if you're talking to Ricky about playing up or marking around a bit, it's probably not too good. But yeah,
yeah,
the players normally knock that on the head and look after that themselves.
yeah? Wow, I think that's just something special. I guess having your team and your mates just keep you in line is something pretty cool, especially being in a professional sport environment. Um, Now let's talk a little bit more about the season you had. I want to go back to that game against Parramatta where you not only scored your first try, you actually scored a double. What what was that like?
Um, yeah, I was probably due for a try at that point in the season. I
Mm,
was I was very close in the games beforehand, but you put yourself in the right positions. Points are going to come, and it's probably just right place, right time, I guess.
mm. Yeah. And yeah, you did put yourself in a position. I thought about 30 different times during the season you were going to get over for a try. But
Yeah, I was just hanging off Big Red as much as possible, and he'd find me through the line, so I just got lucky, I suppose.
yeah, and you beat him to for he nearly had to do a nudie run. You beat him to
Yeah,
score on a try.
yeah, I nearly felt bad for him, so I'm happy he got over the line at some point.
Yeah. Now, now that you just mentioned Big Red, that's just I guess triggered a little question for me. You've got a few Queenslanders up, well, down at Canberra. Is that something special or something you notice, or not really?
Yeah, definitely, but our club's pretty special in the cultures and the backgrounds that we have there. We've got a lot of boys in the Pacific Champs this year. And it just
Yeah,
shows the diversity and the talent that we've got in our squad. But yeah, definitely when Origin time comes around, the boys are very passionate. We've got a lot of Queenslanders and a lot
yeah,
of New South Welshmen in our team. But no, it's nice being a Queensland boy and knowing that um, I've got some other boys
yeah,
from the same state. Definitely.
yeah. That's awesome. Now, I want to talk a bit about the end of the 25 season. It's the end of the regular season, your debut season as a rookie, and you've just come away with the minor premiership. How special was that to do that in your first season?
Yeah, it was very cool.
Mm,
I've never been involved or experienced a proper season before, so to win as many games as we did, I probably took it for granted. I just thought, this is what you go through every single year, but it was something very special, and it's shown me, the level that it takes to be able to win games of football and to win games of football against no good opposition. So yeah, it's definitely an accolade that the team um, definitely reflected on um, each week after we got the minor premiership, and unfortunately we didn't get to go all the way this year. But
yeah,
yeah, it was pretty good to reflect on that shield. Mm.
yeah. Just I know it was a bit disappointing not getting all the way to the grand final, but it is something really cool to walk away with knowing you play, well, not just you, but your whole team had such a great season, and it's just credit to the work that you and the boys all just put in. That's something special.
Yeah, yeah,
And now
100%.
and now on the a bit on the Raiders side, you got a lot of young players, especially moving towards next season. You got a really young spine and edge and everything. What's it like being a young player in a young team?
Um, we've always got, well, that was last year especially too. We had a pretty young team, but this year, um, even younger. And when we've got really good old experienced players in our team, and something that'll help guide us. And youth can be youth can be negative sometimes, but when you've got the talent that we have and we've got the experienced players that we have, it can all come together quite well, as shown as this year. And hopefully we can all just click again. And we've got plenty of time to uh, work on it. We've got a whole preseason ahead, and hopefully we can kick it off round one on a high note.
Yeah, wow. And yeah, a lot of good things to look forward to the next season. Now, I just want to ask, I guess, a bit of a random question here about the team. Is there anyone in particular in the team, I guess, that's into a bit of mischief or mucking around or, I guess, pranking the other boys? And have you ever fell victim to that?
In preseason when everyone needs to be, you know, a spring in their step or something when you're a bit down. There's always the larrikins that seem to make a joke and stitch someone up. So I think everyone sort of gets involved in those antics, and sometimes you know, you get done here and there. But
Yeah,
nah, there's probably not a certain person that I think of straight away. Maybe Starlo. He's
yeah,
he's a good character and he's good fun and he's someone who's very loved in the playing group and always
yeah.
gets the best out of everybody. So
Yeah, the little man. He runs the fork yeah segment, doesn't he?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, old T man's on the fork year
Yeah.
duties.
How good. Now, I just want to, I guess, go back a little bit, and we talked a little bit of where your love for footy came, but let's talk about who'd you grow up watching and going for?
I grew up watching the Bronx, so Broncos were my team, and they were the only team televised. They would only really play on Friday nights, and we only had free to air TV, so we'd only get the
Yeah.
Friday game, and most of the time it was the Broncos. So yeah, Broncos were definitely my favourite growing up. Pretty much, what was it Darren Lockyer, Drew Ayayi,
Yeah.
Jack Reed, Corey Parker, that sort of era, and
Yeah. Wow.
Ben Hunt at the back end of that. So it was
Yeah.
yeah.
And in that, who was the player, I guess, that gave you your most inspiration, or who was your idol?
Oh, probably Darren Lockyer. I'd say he was yeah, all I wanted to be growing up was Darren Lockyer playing in the halves, and so yeah, I'd say Darren Lockyer.
Yeah. Wow. And um, I know you're a hooker, but is there any other positions that you reckon you could play or that you have played in the past?
Oh, I've played a fair bit of a halfback and 5'8". I think anywhere in the halves position I could have a good crack at, but definitely hooker is my probably best played position and
Yeah.
most preferred. I wouldn't really want to play anywhere else, especially in the NRL, that's for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Now, I want to jump out of the NRL space and the footy space for a second. And I want to talk about how you were a nominee this year for, well, not just a nominee, but the winner of the NRL Young Player Education Recognition Award. How important is it to you to have, I guess, an avenue outside of sports like yourself? You've got, is it a trade and auto electrician?
Yeah, I'm a qualified all electrician, so I finished that end of last year.
Yeah,
I
wow.
finished my trade, so yeah.
And do you think it is important to have, I guess, well, not a backup plan, but an avenue outside of, I guess, playing rugby? Like I know your teammate Hudson Young, he has a business. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, it's something that everyone should definitely think about. You know, injuries can come around, and you don't know what you're really going to do after the season ends or when you finish with football. So it's always good to have something in the back of your mind where you know you've got a stable income and you can look after yourself away from football. You know, it doesn't have to be a trade, doesn't have to be,
Mm,
starting your own business, but you can
yeah,
always look to do anything really. And the boys are pretty switched on nowadays, and they're setting themselves up um, during football for when they finish, and it's definitely something that you shouldn't just think you're going to be an NRL player for your whole life. So it's definitely something that I'm grateful to have in the
yeah,
back pocket, and hopefully I get to use it down the track. But
yeah.
we'll just see what happens.
Not too soon, I hope, because I love
Yeah,
watching you play footy.
hopefully. Thanks, mate.
uh, Now let's jump and have a look towards next season. Well, you've just signed during the season for a late extent. Well, I guess a long-term deal to the end of 2028. What are some, I guess, short-term or long-term goals you have playing for the Raiders or representative footy? Is it getting more minutes on the field? Is it knocking off your counterpart Tommy Starling as starting hooker? What is it?
Um, well, leading into next year, I really just want to just play the best football I can um, next year. Whether that's coming off the bench or starting, I'm not too sure, but just getting through the preseason healthy and fit, and give myself the best opportunity to play as many minutes as possible next year, and hopefully in the next couple of years, 3 years, 2 years time, I want to be pushing for a state of origin spot and get that experience in the squad. But just at this point, I just want to be playing regular first grade and not just being a player. I want to be someone who performs week in week out, and for the for our team, I want to be winning games of football for the Canberra Raiders, and
Yeah.
hopefully be in a GF next year. So
Yeah, absolutely. And would you say that's, I guess, possibly your biggest mindset is to come on the field and to make a positive difference for the team?
yeah, definitely. Sometimes it can be a bit of an Achilles heel, thinking you have to do too much, and it's probably something I need to work
Mhm.
on for next year. Just come on and do my role as best as I can. When I come on, whether that's 10 minutes, 30 minutes, or 60 minutes, I just need to be able to play um, consistent football. So hopefully I can do that.
Yeah, wow. And obviously, I guess as a Queenslander, would you be looking at Origin down the track in the next couple of years?
Yeah, hopefully. I'm very, very passionate where I come from, and um, it's something I've always dreamt about since I was a kid. Was
Mm,
playing that maroon jersey.
yeah,
So many role models I have that um, played in State of Origin, and that's all I've really wanted to do since I was a kid. So hopefully in the
mm,
next couple of years I can get some experience in, whether that's just in the squad.
mm.
I'll be over the moon. Mm.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that'd be so cool seeing you pull on a Maroons jersey. Did you ever play schoolboys rep or anything like that?
Yeah, but I never got to. I was never selected in the Queensland teams or
Yeah,
anything like that, and I was normally just in the regional teams and never
yeah,
got lucky enough to be selected. But I was a pretty small body back then. I was only really developed late my teenage years. So I was, um, yeah,
yeah. Held off a bit of a late bloomer. That's all right.
yeah.
Everyone, but I guess you're quite young in the NRL, so hopefully plenty of time on your hands. Now, I just want to ask, outside of NRL, what do you do to I guess relax and wind down? What's your go-to chill out thing to do?
Um, I'll probably just spend time with my partner and my friends, I'd say, and just try to relax as much as possible. Whether
Mm,
that's going out for a coffee or going for a walk or something.
yeah,
But my biggest one's probably golf. I play a lot of golf.
yeah,
Um, I play golf as much much as possible. Whenever we've got time off or a rest day, we've always got a golf day sorted amongst the boys, and yeah, the whole club pretty much enjoys their golf.
Does Ricky ever come down and have a bit of a tee off with you guys?
Yeah, he invites us to one of his he's got a membership at some golf course in Canberra, and he always invites us to come play. So I
No.
played there for the first time. What was that? A couple of months ago. So that was a good experience with a couple of the boys, and he shouted some food and drinks, which was nice. So
No. How nice of him.
yeah,
Um, just the I don't want to, I guess, throw him on the bus here, but Ricky on camera, he can come off a bit fiery. What is he like as a coach? Is he fiery like we see on camera, or is he a bit more chilled out?
nah, he's not fiery. He's just passionate. You know, he cares about his players, and he cares about how we feel. And when we're losing games of football, it's not just about him. He knows it's about us players, and he always reminds us how much work we put into our football and how much time and effort we put in. So when we're losing games of football, he's just feeling for his players, and he rides the wave with us. So it's such
Yeah,
a good thing about Stick. He cares about every single one of his players, and he's a great figure for the club.
yeah. Well, that's just I guess really important to have someone like that in your corner. I guess looking out for all of you guys.
Yeah.
And just having, or I guess on that topic of people looking out for you, I guess how important has your support been while you've been down in Canberra? Say your family, I know they're still up North Queenslandish. How important are they?
Yeah, they're massive. You know, they come down every pretty much once a month, and they come down as much as possible. And to be able to have a good support crew, whether that's my partner or my family, um, it's so good being able to see them after time away, and it definitely helps being away a bit better. But I pretty much call Canberra home now. It
Yeah.
almost feels weird when I'm away for so long, and then I come back. It sort of feels like, I'm back home now. So
Oh wow.
I'm probably missing Canberra a bit now, and missing all my mates. But no, it's a good change of scenery.
Well, I guess that's such a special thing to have that that you consider it home now as well. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, 100%. Hey, Will,
Yep.
um, I'm sorry. I probably got to head off now.
Oh,
I've got
perfect. I was
That's
actually
all right.
about to say we'll wrap up there, but thank you very much for coming on, Owen. And good luck for the next season, and good luck
No,
with the
thanks.
pre-season.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. I know how hard it must be to, you're just starting up, and it's such a cool
Mm.
thing that you're doing, and I'm happy just to help out as much as possible, and definitely down the track or whenever you want, just send me a text, and I'll jump on and
Oh,
have another chat.
well, thank you very much, mate. From what I've heard, you're a fantastic bloke. Keep killing it on the footy field, and we'll see you later. Cheers. See ya.